All right, what'd you say?
Do you find yourself asking that a lot?
Yeah, I find myself asking that a lot.
Yeah.
And now that we're all wearing masks, it's even worse.
Yeah, it definitely makes it harder to hear, even for those who don't normally have issues. Nancy Jablonski is an audiologist, and she's joining us now with some tips to better understand people when they're wearing a mask. Thanks for being with us, Nancy.
Thank you for inviting me to talk about this really important subject in our new COVID age.
Yeah.
People are really struggling with the masks because it's covering all of their visual cues that help us hear. And it's also reducing the volume of consonant sounds by almost half. And consonant sounds tells us what the words are. So when we don't hear consonant sounds, we don't know what the words are.
Well, I think it's amazing how much we read lips, even if we're not, hearing impaired. We're still looking at a person and reading their lips, and we can't do that anymore.
No, we can't. And our brain is pretty wonderful. When we lose one sense or when one sense is compromised, other senses take over. And that's why we hear with our eyes sometimes.
So what do you recommend as far as if someone's wearing a mask, what's the tip to understand them better?
Okay, well, I've got tips for the listener and the speaker.
Okay.
First of all, for the speaker, slow down. If somebody's having a hard time hearing you, slow down and talk a little louder. Don't shout, because that will just distort your speech. And oftentimes it will help if you get their attention, say their name and get their attention. And if you find that you're repeating the same thing, rephrase it. That will give the listener more information. Reduce background noise. There's a lot of noise. Go in an area where there's not so much noise and face the listener. Now, if it's a friend or a family, suggest to them to get a hearing test, because that's important. Now, for the listener, the first thing is be calm, relax, don't get anxious. It's awfully frustrating and anxiety producing when we miss things and we keep having to ask people to repeat themselves. If you have hearing aids, please wear them. The hearing aids will help you. You can even see your audiologist, and they can give you a special program to help you hear when people are wearing masks. Point to your ear. Don't be afraid to say, I'm having a problem hearing. People will be more patient with you if you point to your ear and you explain that. And especially if you go to a doctor's office and you're getting important information, have them write it down for you. Most doctors' offices are doing that. So those are some tips that will help you. I really encourage you, get your hearing tested. If you're having problems hearing people when they wear masks, communicating in our new COVID world, it can be isolating and frustrating. So get your hearing tested. We've got lots of solutions for you.
I don't think we think of depression as associated with hearing loss, but people you can get depressed if you don't hear. You get socially isolated, as you were just saying.
Absolutely. You get paranoid, you get depressed, you don't know what's going on. So many people living in retirement communities being isolated, while they're waiting to get vaccinated. And they struggle to hear on the telephone and stay connected with their families and friends.
And I don't know that people are aware that if you are staying home, you have something called concierge audiologist. So an audiologist can actually come to your house and test you right there.
Yes, we've been very busy. We make house calls. So
great.
We will go and evaluate your hearing in the privacy of your home, and we'll come up with some solutions for you.
Have the tests changed since I was in grammar school? I think that's literally the last time I got my hearing test. Do you still raise your hand left and right, or
you raise your hand when you hear the beeps? And we do have more sophisticated tests, but basically you're right, Scott. You raise your hand, and what we do is we test different frequencies of speech and language. And we're able to have solutions for those sounds that you're missing. But most of the sounds that we miss first are consonants.
Okay. Well, thank you, Nancy. We appreciate your time. I'm raising both my hands, Nancy. I hope you can see and hear me.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's a delight.
Thank you. And to learn more about Nancy's services, you can visit audiologyconcierge.com. Of course, we'll have the link on betterct.com.
Yeah, 'cause I can't spell that word.